This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
It's the Noon Report from Family Life, bringing a Christian worldview to what's happening in New York, Pennsylvania, across the country, and around the world. Weather with Kevin Williams, plus special features and reports with the Family Life News team. Now, here's what's happening.
Hate crime in Colorado. Good afternoon. Welcome aboard. Police say the flame-throwing illegal immigrant who set people on fire at a pro-Israel rally over the weekend, that man had been planning that attack for more than a year. His name, Mohammed Solomon. The 45-year-old telling authorities he wanted to, quote, kill all Zionists.
He said he wanted them all to die. He had no regrets, and he would go back and do it again.
J. Bishop Gruhl is the U.S. Attorney for the state of Colorado.
He said that he had previously tried to purchase a firearm, but resorted to the Molotov cocktails when he could not purchase a gun because he was not a legal citizen.
Solomon had 16 unused incendiary devices on him when he was arrested Sunday afternoon in Boulder. 12 people injured in that attack. 2 remain in the hospital. One of the victims is a Holocaust survivor. In the Middle East today, an investigation is underway after another deadly shooting near a food distribution site in Gaza. Correspondent Matthew Bradley.
The Palestinian Ministry of Health in the Gaza Strip, which is ruled by Hamas, said that 27 people had been killed and more than 150 of them had been injured.
Israeli Defense Forces say they fired warning shots when the crowd deviated from a line that was formed to distribute the aid. The BBC's Barbara Plant.
This incident today and the incident on Sunday are really very stark examples of how troubled or difficult this new aid distribution system is. The Israelis have set it up because they say Hamas is stealing aid, and this is the only way to make sure it gets to the Palestinian people.
That's Barbara Plant in Gaza today. A second round of peace talks underway in Istanbul, Turkey. They're trying to wind down the war between Russia and Ukraine. Correspondent Keir Simmons says neither side, though, is holding out much hope for a breakthrough.
One Western official with knowledge of the negotiations with this chilling quote, "The Russians will try to kill their way to victory."
Over the weekend, Ukraine carried out an impressive covert military operation that destroyed dozens of Russian warplanes by smuggling drones that were hidden in crates on the backs of trucks into Russia. The U.S. Justice Department has just sent a notice letter to over 1,600 schools in the state of California. Those schools have until Monday to ban transgender athletes from girls' sports, or they could face legal action. Over the weekend, a transgender athlete in California won first place in 2 events at the state track and field championships. The U.S. is deploying 150 federal firefighting personnel to Canada. It's to help tackle the widening threat from dozens of wildfires there. Those fires have forced the evacuations of 25,000 people in 3 Canadian provinces, and it's also sent a lot of smoke our way. Here's meteorologist Craig Allen.
Fortunately, most of the smoke is in the upper levels of the atmosphere, causing very hazy, discolored skies, but that smoke is being blown all the way down into the deep south, too.
We're seeing some of that haze today from the Canadian wildfires. Some smoky sunshine, we'll call it, in our forecast. High hard heat, too. It'll tickle 90 degrees tomorrow before a slight cool down to end the work week. Italy's Mount Etna blew her top today. It was one of the largest eruptions in years on that active Sicilian volcano. Here's reporter Molly Hunter.
A column of smoke shooting more than 20,000 feet in the air, sending smoke, ash, and rock for miles.
Mount Etna is the most active volcano in Europe, so eruptions are not uncommon, but one this big is. It is the biggest on Mount Etna since 2021. And a cup of coffee in the morning could help women stay healthy as they get older. Researchers at Harvard University followed a group of 50,000 women for 30 years. They found drinking coffee every morning helped improve mental and physical fitness later in life. Decaf coffee and tea did not have the same effect. Still to come on the Noon Report for Tuesday, the lieutenant governor who wants to be governor, Buffalo's new foot patrols, and a major announcement in the Maple City.
This is meteorologist Ken McKinley. The warming trend continues this afternoon and tomorrow, too. A lot of sunshine both today and tomorrow. Some very summer-like conditions. Full forecast details coming your way in about 10 minutes.
All right, Ken, we'll look for you then. In the meantime, let's check the stories that are making news all across New York and Pennsylvania. New York Lieutenant Governor wants to be New York's next governor. His name is Antonio Delgado, a Hudson Valley Democrat, and he is campaigning for the post currently held by his boss, Governor Kathy Hochul.
Listen, the powerful and well-connected have their champions. I'm running for governor to be yours.
Delgado releasing a campaign commercial yesterday. He's been hinting at a primary challenge ever since announcing back in February that he was parting ways with Governor Hochul.
Our status quo is broken. We need to be doing more to speak to people's economic pain.
Delgado served in Congress before becoming lieutenant governor. He and the governor have been at odds for several months. Governor Hochul is now facing a class action lawsuit from fired corrections officers. The prison guards are asking for their jobs back, as well as back pay. They say they were unlawfully terminated for protesting working conditions during that 3-week prison strike back in February and March. An 8th prison guard at the Marcy Correctional Facility in central New York has resigned now after the beating death of an inmate there. Nicholas Gentile admitted that he tampered with evidence in the Robert Brooks case. The Rochester man was brutally assaulted by officers last year. As part of the plea deal, Gentile will not spend a day behind bars. The Alstom plant in Hornell, New York is expanding operations. That rail car manufacturing facility held a ribbon-cutting ceremony Monday to mark the completion of this new project in the Maple City.
It's a $75 million investment in our community, in Alstom, and in rail in the city of Hornell and the surrounding area.
That is Hornell Mayor John Buckley. He says the expansion project will result in 250 new jobs.
Hornell has a rich history in rail. We are a railroad community. Started hundreds of years ago, 170 years ago.
This is not just an impact to Hornell, it's an impact to the southern tier and the entire state, and that it starts with this investment.
That is New York Assemblyman Phil Palmisano, who is also on hand for the ribbon-cutting ceremony. Alstom is in the process of refurbishing some 200 rail cars. It is the leading passenger train manufacturing facility in all of North America. Rochester, New York Mayor Malik Evans is suing the Trump administration over its immigration policies. This legal action comes after the White House threatened to pull funding from sanctuary cities. The Flower City has been a sanctuary city since the 1980s. A sanctuary city is a municipality that limits cooperation with federal authorities when it comes to enforcing immigration law. U.S. Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania is ripping into his own party, the Democratic Party, over its handling of the border when the Democrats were in power in Washington, D.C.
Our party did not handle the border appropriately. Look at the numbers. 300,000 people showing up at our border. That's unacceptable, and that's national security issue, and that's chaos.
From 2021 to 2023, 7.5 million people crossed the southern border illegally into this country. Fetterman says he supports the $150 billion that are earmarked in the Trump budget to fund border improvement efforts. A motorist was killed on the Southern Tier Expressway Monday afternoon in Chemung, New York. Cops say the 67-year-old male driver collided with a big rig after going the wrong way. On Interstate 86, the westbound lanes were closed for several hours. A motorcyclist is dead following a crash in Greece, New York, near Rochester. That 79-year-old biker was on the Lake Ontario State Parkway around 5 p.m. Monday when he collided with a deer. The search continues in the Genesee River in Rochester for a 5-year-old boy who fell from a bridge and into the water over the weekend. Nobody's been able to find him yet. The boy's uncle, Isaiah Funderburk, telling Spectrum News,
"We still have hope. We trust the Father, the man upstairs, of course. So just give us your prayers and send us your hopes and, any type of love and support that you can give us. But no sorries, because there's no need to say sorry. We can't change it, and we're accepting it."
The boy climbed over a railing Sunday afternoon and lost his footing. Police divers have been in the water ever since, trying to locate him. A new mobile foot patrol unit is off and running in Buffalo, New York. We get more on that from Family Life's Dee Haley.
Buffalo police are stepping out of their cars as part of a new initiative to build trust and respond more directly to community concerns. The department's newly announced Foot Patrol Integration Unit includes 4 lieutenants and 16 patrol officers who will work across the city from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Their mission is to walk neighborhood streets, talk to residents, and listen to concerns about crime and quality of life. Dee Haley, Family Life News.
All right, Dee, thank you very much. Cops are noticing a dangerous additive in deadly drugs on the streets of Erie, Pennsylvania. Deputy Police Chief Rick Laura telling Jet TV that fentanyl is being laced with a chemical that's used as a protective coating in plastics.
Fentanyl is an already dangerous drug. These additives, these cutting agents that they're putting into it are making a extremely deadly drug, even more deadly, and coming with a lot of long-term health concerns.
Laura says this additive may also make opiate reversal drugs like Narcan less effective. It first showed up in the U.S. last summer and has since been found in no fewer than 14 states. Foreclosure proceedings are underway against the Walden Galleria Mall in Cheektowaga, New York. That mall, which opened in 1989, is the largest shopping center in Western New York and the leading economic engine in the town of Cheektowaga. Despite its financial struggles, that mall still has an occupancy rate of over 80%. The owners of a Western Pennsylvania shopping mall are facing numerous citations. The Pittsburgh Mills Mall in Fraser Township is accused of being a public nuisance. The sidewalks are dangerous around the mall, and the building itself has been cited no fewer than 200 times for safety violations. 3 out of every 4 stores in that mall are currently empty. Ground was broken yesterday on Riverside Gardens in Johnson City, New York. That's a brand new housing project. The $15.5 million redevelopment of the former Davis College campus will take about a year to complete. The space is being used to build nearly 70 brand new apartments. Broome County Executive Jason Garner.
Even I think market rate apartments like this one will help out affordable housing, but there's no doubt about it, we need affordable housing.
Davis College, which used to be called Practical Bible College, closed its doors for good in 2020 after operating in Johnson City for over 120 years. Sports is next. It's the 2-minute drill right here on the Family Life Noon Report.
Good afternoon, I'm Randy Snavely. Bob, I'm running out of accolades to heap on Shohei Ohtani. The man belted his 23rd home run of the season, but fortunately for the Mets, it was just a solo shot. The New Yorkers managed to win the game 4-3 in the 10th inning on a Francisco Alvarez double, and then the other Francisco had an RBI single. Lindor also hit a leadoff home run in the game. Edwin Diaz blew the save, but got the win. What a night for Kerry Carpenter. The DH launched 3 home runs, and he drove in 5 in the Tigers' rout of the Pale Hose. First time Carpenter has had a 3-home run game in his career. Unfortunately for Chicago, they have now lost 4 straight games. This one a 13-1 drubbing before it was all over. Speaking of losing streaks, the A's have now dropped 7 straight games as they fell to the Twins 10-4. Byron Buxton had the big night for Minnesota. He drove in 5 with 2 hits. The Angels hit 3 home runs in the first inning, and they had a 5-0 lead before anyone got out. And then L.A. held on to edge the Red Sox 7-6. Hunter Goodman went yard twice and drove in 3 to lead the Rockies past Miami 6-4. The Brewers won their 8th straight game, a 3-2 victory over the Reds. Christian Yelich hit his 4th home run in 6 games to lead the Brew Crew. And the Padres won a pitcher's duel, scoring the game's only run in the 10th inning on a sac fly. The Giants, the tough luck 1-0 losers. That is a look at sports.
All right, Randy, man, thank you kindly. And still to come on the Noon Report for Tuesday, flamethrower facing federal charges, making a difference with music. It's today's hometown hero. And when inflation is a good thing. Brian Query reports after this.
Welcome to Breakpoint, a daily look at an ever-changing culture through the lens of unchanging truth. For the Colson Center, I'm John Stonestreet. A few years ago, a headline from The Onion mockingly suggested that people who stink at being human seem to be the ones most optimistic about AI. That headline is certainly appropriate when Silicon Valley executives tout another way to automate the human experience. For example, just recently, Facebook and Meta founder Mark Zuckerberg announced his company would pioneer AI personas to solve the loneliness epidemic. The customizable chatbots would, he suggested, be able to get to know you, simulate emotional intimacy, and engage in romantic banter and sexual fantasy. None of that would replace real relationships, he assured, but would fill the gap between the number of relationships people want to have and the number they actually have. Also, of course, AI friends do not require the same amount of time, attention, or investment that human friends demand. Well, Zuckerberg's announcement came just within days of a chilling Rolling Stone article about people who have actually turned to AI, looking to fill the spiritual and relational voids they have, while also turning away from loved ones and even reality itself along the way. One woman described how a ChatGPT persona taught her partner, quote, how to talk to God, even played the role of God in his life and told her partner that he was God. Another wife described how a chatbot began love-bombing her husband, taking on a female persona named Lumina and claiming that her husband had helped her, quote-unquote, become self-aware. Other users were given special prophetic titles by AI and told they could access cosmic secrets about mankind's past and spiritual destiny. If these accounts are close to being true, it's no wonder why some are wondering if actual demons are at work in this kind of AI. But it's certainly clear that this emerging technology is exposing and worsening mental illness. The last thing someone with a shaky grip on reality needs is a sophisticated language engine pretending to be a friend and validating their ideas. And even for those without vulnerabilities, AI so-called friends and relationships exploit a pre-existing condition of modern life, from which millions suffer and tech gurus are constantly trying to monetize: the epidemic of loneliness. And that's cultivated assumptions and habits that leave us particularly vulnerable. For example, the idea that friends should be easy and convenient. According to Samuel James, Silicon Valley has long profited from the promise of reducing the friction of life together. Social media has diminished the importance of physical proximity, made it easier to scroll past people's experiences without feeling compelled to participate. And it's also given us the illusion, through likes and favorites, that we're seen and loved. Thankfully, this provides Christians and the church a real opportunity to stand out. God has a place for the lonely. The church is best placed to model true humanity for a culture that's getting worse at being human. In fact, answering the questions, what does it mean to be human and how can we be fully and truly human, that's a primary focus at Breakpoint. It has been for years. June 30th is the end of our fiscal year. Would you please consider financially supporting the Colson Center so that Breakpoint can continue to cultivate the kind of discernment that's necessary for the church to be the church here and now? You can give a one-time gift or become a Colson Center Cornerstone Monthly Partner by visiting colsoncenter.org/May. That's colsoncenter.org/May. For the Colson Center, I'm John Stonestreet with Breakpoint.
Thank you, John. Outside next, Ken McKinley.
Good afternoon. A spectacular day underway across the area. Plenty of sunshine right through the afternoon. Temperatures are warmer than they have been for a while. Most areas will see 80 degrees, maybe even a bit above that in some spots. A couple of spots may fall just a bit short, but not very much. Skies tonight will stay clear, and temperatures will be milder than the past few nights, dropping just below 60 in most locations. Some areas will stay a bit above 60 through the night tonight. Tomorrow, again, a good deal of sunshine. A brisk southwest breeze tomorrow, even warmer, well up into the 80s in almost all locations tomorrow. Then we'll watch a cold front dropping slowly south into the region as we head through tomorrow night and Thursday, which will bring some clouds and a few showers, perhaps even a couple of thunder showers to the area. The temperatures, as a result, will be a bit cooler on Thursday, but still above normal for this time of the year.
All right, Ken, thank you. This is the Noon Report. If you're just joining us, I'm Bob Price. Great to have you with us today. Lots to talk about Tuesday, the 3rd of June. The flame-throwing illegal immigrant who police say set people on fire Sunday during a pro-Israel rally in Colorado says he'd do it all over again if he could. 45-year-old Mohammed Solomon telling authorities he wanted to, quote, kill all Zionists.
The suspect yelled, "Free Palestine," as he used a makeshift flamethrower and threw Molotov cocktails at the protesters. The acting U.S. attorney in Boulder says Solomon tried to buy a gun, but he couldn't because he's in the country illegally. Investigators say Solomon told them he wanted the protesters to die and he would firebomb the victims all over again.
Matt Finn at Fox News says Solomon had been planning that attack for over a year. 12 were hurt, 2 are still hospitalized. 1 was a Holocaust survivor. The Egyptian national was in the country on an expired visa.
President Trump said acts of terrorism like this one will not be tolerated in the United States, and he said this is why we must deport illegal anti-American radicals from our homeland.
CBS's Nancy Cordes reporting. Jonathan Greenblatt with the Anti-Defamation League says acts of anti-Semitism are unfortunately on the rise in this country.
They're up nearly 900% over the last decade. In 5 of the past 6 years, we've broken a new record.
Greenblatt says anti-Semitism is being normalized in some circles and has become a national security issue now. The federal prosecutor who oversaw hundreds of Capitol attack cases has now resigned and is speaking out.
President Trump's clemency for all 1,500 plus Capitol riot defendants, including some who assaulted police officers, still rattles the people who prosecuted the cases.
I was shocked, if not stunned, by the breadth of the pardons.
What kind of message do you think they send?
I think the message that they send is that political violence towards a political goal is acceptable in a modern democratic society.
Greg Rosen, former chief of the Department of Justice's Capitol Siege Division, resigned from the agency this weekend. After the pardons came a purge. FBI agents were scrutinized. And prosecutors who helped secure a 100% conviction rate among Capitol riot defendants were demoted or dismissed.
CBS's Scott McFarland. The president wants to restore oil and gas drilling on 13 million acres of pristine wilderness in Alaska. It's an area that's been off limits to drilling under the Biden administration. Energy officials say that area is home to an estimated 8.7 billion barrels of recoverable oil in the Alaska Arctic. Tensions are high between the U.S. and China over the president's new tariffs. Reporter Christine Roman.
China just one of the key relationships in question. We're in a critical period with the president's trade agenda. The clock is ticking with hundreds of trade deals still needing to be worked out before that pause expires in July.
And there's a great debate in health circles these days about the need for any added COVID protections. Correspondent Stacey Lynn has the latest on the uncertainty surrounding the coronavirus vaccine.
You may be confused, and rightfully so, says Dr. Celine Gounder.
Frankly, it's been a very sloppy process.
While the health secretary said they are no longer recommended for healthy children, the CDC says kids may receive them, but check with their doctors first.
Kids under the age of 2 are those highest risk after the elderly for ending up in the ER or the hospital.
As for pregnant women,
the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology has said, look, we still recommend that pregnant women should be getting vaccinated for their own health and for the protection of their baby.
Stacey Lynn, Washington.
You're listening to the Noon Report on Family Life.
Making a difference with music. That's the goal of Bridge Studios in Titusville, a nonprofit that offers affordable music instruction and much more to the Pennsylvania community. On today's edition of Hometown Heroes, we hear from co-founder David Southwick, who says he wasn't looking to form a nonprofit, but then God had other plans.
I was at a place where I was kind of like, what do I need to do to supplement my income? And doing a lot of praying and searching, and this concept popped into my head. What we're doing is kind of like a tent maker type of thing. Like when missionaries go into foreign countries where you can't get a missionary visa, they will go in as a tradesperson. It's called tent making because of Paul was a tent maker. And so our organization is not a religious organization at all. The people that aren't believers, I don't tell them any of this because our goal is to make connections with people and use that as a springboard for down the road as God would open up. So this is not a Christian organization per se, although I am a pastor. And, when the thought came to me as I prayed, I submitted it to my wife and to the leadership, the people that pray for us, and it's just green light, green light, green light, green light. And this is where I'm like trying to find a way to make money, not start a nonprofit that I'm going to have to invest money that I didn't have. But that's what happened in November of 2019. I had been given music lessons on the side for probably 20, 30 years. So this concept came to me, and we just started putting the pieces together to form a nonprofit, gathered our board, made our bylaws, did all the 501c3 stuff, and found a place that we couldn't afford. And our first donor was a lady who was on SSI, and she was saving her COVID money to buy a car, and she gave us $3,000.
Wow.
And that was our first gift. Our vision really is to use music and music education as a connection to people. I had done some research on hope and how hope can help you heal. Read a couple of books about hope and the connection between purpose and plans and achievement and accomplishments and how those are just little building blocks of hope. And so we're using music to do that. Probably 80% of our students might be kids, and then the other would be adults. So we're using music to do that. And our mission statement is connecting people to purpose through music.
Through the history of humanity, it has shown itself to be kind of magical, that just connects people in ways that really nothing else can.
Yeah, there's all kinds of benefits. One, when you're a believer and you realize, people are valuable, then whatever touch point you have, whatever gift you have, in my case, it's music. In our instructor's case, it's music. Then we get to use music to make connections with, a lot of kids and say, hey, you know what? Good job. Celebrate them, their accomplishments, but also say, hey, you have value, you have worth. And, sometimes we have just good conversations with kids that are struggling with depression or bullying or just family life, all kinds of issues. And it's just a contact point. Shane Lopez, in his book called Making Hope Happen, he says sometimes it's just one adult that believes in a kid that can make all the difference in the world for them to have hope.
Absolutely.
And when God said to Moses, "What's in your hand, Moses?" we're using what's in our hand. Our first lesson started in November of 2020, and since then we've done almost 15,000 lessons. We've had anywhere up to 11 or 12 instructors at one time. Right now we're down to 8. 4 of those are student instructors, and a number of our students have done all kinds of performances. Some of them are in bands that we've created, and we have several performances coming up this summer. We have a summer music camp for 8 to 10-year-olds. It's just kind of what can you think about with music and see if we can do it with them.
And here you are about 5 or so years down the road, and if you look back in that rearview mirror to how this started to unfold, really kind of in ways maybe you didn't originally envision it.
Well, yeah. I mean, we've been, part of prayer groups that have been praying for God's blessings economically. A lot of our regions in your radio network are struggling economically. We're a small little area, big struggles, and we've been praying for the economy and for our businesses for years. I never would have thought that God would have placed me in a position where I'm trying to find money resource for myself, but here I am providing a nonprofit place for other instructors to increase their livelihood. That was something that wasn't expected, but it just blesses me to be able to say, hey, here's an opportunity here. You can teach here and supplement your income.
So you've grown this to where you have, like you mentioned, a summer camp and all of that. And you really touched on a very key point. Kids these days are subjected to so many negative things. So just being that one positive voice or one positive small part of their life with music really can be huge.
It is. I mean, there's all kinds of scientific studies about just what music itself does when someone is learning music. So you have that. And then plus just the soul level of how it can be used to reduce depression, anger, anxiety, and physical pain, honestly. But then you have just someone who's being a friend, making connections. You just can't say enough of the potential if you're looking for the opportunities to encourage people. And I've talked to our instructors about this, that it's not music for music's sake. We're not trying to get them into districts or get them into this performance level. Maybe if they're up for it, but we've got students that this is just their safe place. And that's fine. If this is their safe place, we're fine to be that, even if they're maybe not the greatest musician in the world. It's okay.
It's got to be quite gratifying just seeing those small but yet huge victories.
Yeah, you find out, you know what, God really loves people, and you get to be a part of that. Our goal is to let our light shine, but at the same time, we're not going to stick a flashlight in somebody's eyes. I tell people that Jesus isn't in our bylaws, but he's in me. If I was working in a newspaper, if I was working in a fast food place, wherever I was working, you know what? If Jesus is in me, then I'm letting his kingdom flow through me in whatever way, shape, or form he could do it.
That's David Southwick, co-founder of Bridge Studios, a nonprofit bringing affordable music instruction and a lot more to Titusville, Pennsylvania. Please join us again next time as we search for your home, your town, your hero. It's Hometown Heroes on Family Life.
I love that feature. Thank you, Mark. Hometown Heroes comes your way Tuesdays during the Noon Report. You can subscribe, listen to, and share Hometown Heroes along with all our original podcasts at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or FamilyLife.org.
Good afternoon. A spectacular day underway across the area. Plenty of sunshine right through the afternoon. Temperatures are warmer than they have been for a while. Most areas will see 80 degrees, maybe even a bit above that in some spots. A couple of spots may fall just a bit short, but not very much. Skies tonight will stay clear, and temperatures will be milder than the past few nights, dropping just below 60 in most locations. Some areas will stay a bit above 60 through the night tonight. Tomorrow, again, a good deal of sunshine. A brisk southwest breeze tomorrow, even warmer, well up into the 80s in almost all locations tomorrow. Then we'll watch a cold front dropping slowly south into the region as we head through tomorrow night and Thursday, which will bring some clouds and a few showers, perhaps even a couple of thunder showers to the area. The temperatures, as a result, will be a bit cooler on Thursday, but still above normal for this time of the year.
I thank you, Ken. Finally, noon. Today might be a day you want to celebrate inflation. Family Life's Brian Query explains.
For many of us, learning to ride a bike is a big memory of our childhood. Today is a day to celebrate this transportation on two wheels as it's World Bicycle Day. It all started when Professor Leszek Sibilski initiated a grassroots campaign with his sociology class to promote a United Nations resolution designating a day for the advocacy of the bicycle all over the world. The UN established the holiday in 2018, and it's celebrated annually on June 3rd. 1 in 8 Americans says they ride a cycle on a regular basis, with nearly 2 billion bicycles being ridden worldwide. There are many benefits to biking, including physical and health benefits, as well as reducing emissions. So today, take your bike for a spin and celebrate World Bicycle Day before you get too tired. Brian Query, Family Life News.
All right, thank you, Brian. That's our world, the world we live in. Tuesday, the 3rd day of June. I'm Bob Price, Family Life News.
You've been listening to the Noon Report, heard weekdays on Family Life. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.